Oh, and we're live. Thank you for stopping by Indie Dave Comics. I, of course, am Indie Dave, the writer of Oddity. We are here with the artist of Oddity.
Hey, what's up, everyone? What's going on?
And we are also here with Eric Weathers.
Yes. Hello there.
Good. He's back. All
yes,
right.
I'm back.
We're here with Eric Weathers, who is the writer and artist, both for Flying Fortress.
Co-writer and artist.
Co-writer and artist, and he's also the letterer of Oddity.
Yeah.
What? When did that happen?
Yeah, so that's the team so far, and our Eric has been nice enough to show up tonight to discuss his book Flying Fortress. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your book?
Sure. Well, as you may have heard just a few seconds ago, my name is Eric Weathers. I am a letterer for Indie Comics, Comicsgate, whatever you want to call it. I lent my lettering skills to several projects, most notably Jawbreakers, Graveyard Shift, the upcoming Red Rooster, all of Cautionary's books. I mean, there's a whole list of stuff, and I'm always going to forget some. But I think as of now, we're looking between 20 and 30, probably about 25 titles, stuff that I either have lettered or is in the pipeline or am currently lettering. Like
awesome.
Monster MD, I've been working on that today even.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking offline, and I did the math, and everybody thinks you have to kiss Ethan's ring to make a book. No, look. Eric is on every single book. That's the ring you got to kiss.
Well, I'll be honest. All you really got to do is ask. I mean, if you want to kiss a ring, by all means, go right ahead. But I feel like I'm pretty easy to work with.
All right.
Well, you're in such high demand. Like,
and that's the good thing about lettering, that it is, it's at the end of the book. You know, sometimes I'll do like, hey, I got the campaign, let's get some pages up there. So I'll do like 5 pages or whatever. But generally speaking, the book's done, and I get 22 pages, and hey, can I get this done by end of the month or Friday or whatever?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take, months to letter a book. It doesn't take months or weeks to letter a book, and you can get it done in just a couple of days or even a day, depending on the page count and the amount of balloon per page and all of that. So that's what allows me to be so well, for lack of a better term, versatile.
Yeah.
On a bunch of different projects.
So do you have like a graphic design background, or was this just something you kind of fell in love with and just got good at?
A bit of both, actually.
Yeah.
I studied design in college, but I dropped out and joined the Army instead. And everybody there was like, "What are you doing, you dummy?" So I went back to school again for design, and it just college really wasn't my thing. So I said, enough of this.
Yeah.
And we moved. My wife and I got married in the town we went to college in. And then we moved to a different, bigger city. And I thought I'll just freelance for a while. I did that for a while, and then kind of got out of the graphic design game and just sort of did regular jobs. But those regular jobs are what led me to Flying Fortress, which is where I learned that that's where I fell in to lettering, fell in love with it. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
So
you basically just grab the Comic Sans font and go to.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Scroll it out on a napkin and scan it in. Yeah.
No, I work for a design firm, and it's a played out joke, but Papyrus and Comic Sans.
Comic Sans and Papyrus are the death of design.
Definitely. It's pretty funny though. But yeah, no, I was going through a few different letters, and then I saw you on Ethan's show just the other night, and I was like, you know what? This is probably a long shot, but I'll shoot him a DM and see if he's interested. And right like within minutes, you responded, and you're very professional and easygoing, and I was like, do you know what? That's that means a lot. That's a lot right there, because that's not always the case. And,
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words. That's just sort of how I try to live life is
Don't
being
turn down a
honest.
paycheck.
So
yeah,
what's that?
You live life. Don't turn down a paycheck.
That's right. I got mouths to feed.
yeah.
When they're not yelling at each other, I got to put food in them.
So is your like full-time job now basically lettering all of Comicsgate? Like, is that how it's become?
Yeah, that's what it's
That's
turned into.
that's pretty awesome.
It's very awesome. I started this career, if you will, not the best way. We, my wife and I were married for a few years. Our first son was on his way,
Hmm.
and I had a job that was okay. It was decent, had a good paycheck.
Yeah.
And we were looking at, like, do we want to get daycare or do we want to
Hmm.
do what? One of us stays home.
Yeah.
And honestly, she was making a little bit more. So we were
Yeah.
like, all right, you stay home. And oh, by the way, why don't you work on your comic book thing?
Uh-huh.
And that was Flying Fortress. So it has sort of grown with my along the same path as my oldest.
Yeah.
And there were other things in there. It wasn't just Flying Fortress, but for sure it's been a wild ride.
Yeah. I bet. I mean, I went through a similar thing with my wife after our second was born. I was laid off a job, and we were like, "What?" I mean, we can't afford daycare at the time, and I
Hmm.
had a ton of student loans, and yeah, it was really difficult. But I stayed home with the kids for about a year until I landed a really nice job. But in that year, I just went on YouTube and I studied coloring and
Yeah.
inking, and uh, just really worked at, you know, something that I loved, and that's kind of where it took me today. And,
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to see things like that. It's it's a different time these days. I mean, back then you had to, you know, tear pages out of comics and go to the library or find, go to the bookstore and find a copy of like a Loomis book or something to learn. And
uh-huh,
nowadays it's everything is on YouTube or
yeah,
Gumroad or something
hmm,
similar, and it makes learning so much easier and so much more accessible,
yes,
way more than it was. And you're seeing, I mean, we're starting to see the fruits of that, because there are a lot of really young but very, very, very talented artists out there these days.
oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, you can like I went to school for I went to college for illustration and stuff, and the only thing that was really good about that was the face-to-face critiques, like
Hmm.
getting critique to your face. That was very, very helpful. That really motivates you, because when people tear apart your work online, you never know who the person is. Like, they might just be some troll messing
Yeah.
with you, and but when you're in a school and you've got a professor or a teacher telling you to your face, you know, what you need to work on and what's working and what isn't, like, you take that a little more to heart. And that was the biggest, thing I got out of college. But as far as learning techniques and all that stuff, you can find all that online. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Absolutely. And there are communities out there where you can have that
Yeah.
critique-based
Uh-huh.
thing. So it's out there, but just posting sort of randomly, you never know what you're going
Yeah.
to get, if you're going to get anything
Hmm.
other than I like it or I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, but when I do see some criticism in it, uh, and I see where they're coming from and it makes sense, I always appreciate that. Like, I have no problem people giving me, constructive criticism on my work and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're putting your art out there in a public forum. You should expect, you know, whatever comments come your way, you just have to accept it and, learn from it or brush it off,
Yep.
whatever. But yeah, it's weird days now.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, if you wanted to find pencils, like you would have like back in the day, pencils for comic art was like a golden treasure. Because like you now you can just go online and find who's ever pencils, and you can learn a lot just from pencil work. But back in the day, I mean, if you weren't at a con or something like that, like it was, or putting out a lot of money for certain books, like it was hard to find pencils, and you know, the the first most fundamental step of drawing a comic, and now it's out there for everyone,
Yeah.
and that's why you got this influx of just talent everywhere. Like you go on Instagram and you're just blown away by all the talent out there. It's
There's a
overwhelming.
lot of great stuff.
Yeah. And then with computers, like, it just really evens the playing field, because if you're doing things digitally, like, there's all sorts of tricks you can do to manipulate your work, and, you know, but I still don't think it makes up for good drawing, good design. I mean, you
Yeah, the
can,
fundamentals still have to be there.
yeah,
And any artist, any good artist, it won't matter if it's digital or
yeah,
traditional. They can make it sing either way.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'll. Did you use a lot of reference for Flying Fortress, like, or was that some, or like with the people mostly? I know you've used your model and stuff for
Yeah.
the planes and stuff, but for the people, did you use a lot of photo reference, or is it mostly just from your head, like
Well,
just
in
drawing
the
it?
beginning, yeah, there was a lot of reference. It was more like I need an actor to
Hmm.
base this character off of, so that because
Yeah.
I wasn't. It wasn't easy to be consistent in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
So it was
Exactly.
like, okay, well, um, I was a big fan of Firefly back in the day. Not so much
Uh-huh.
anymore. Like I like it, but back then it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So my pilot and co-pilot were initially sort of modeled after Wash and Reynolds,
Hmm.
and even their names were aped from that, because two of the
Yeah.
guys, me and the other another one of the other creators, were massive. We were just into it at the time. So I
Yeah.
Stephen Reynolds. I took the name of the two captains that I could think of that would make
Hmm.
sense. So Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Mal Reynolds, and I mashed them together to make Stephen Reynolds. I mean, it's
Yeah.
simple as that. But as far as like keeping reference and things, you know, this book took several years. The story, not the book, but the story took several years to sort of work through. And
Hmm.
once I got used to the characters, then it was like there was a shorthand that I sort of fell into, so I didn't need
Yeah.
reference always.
Uh-huh.
But for sure, in the beginning, it was like it was very useful, because you could go online and just look up Nathan Fillion, and then you just got a bunch of headshots from different angles, and it just
Yeah.
helps. It
Oh
just,
yeah.
especially if you're learning, because that's all it was. I mean, that's my entire comic book learning journey is in the between these pages of this book.
Yeah. Which
So
is cool because you get to see the evolution of your style from beginning to end, and how you grew as an artist. And
I mean, not even end. So now it's
what's
like
that?
beginning to middle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, and after you start drawing the same character over and over and over, you do learn, what specific features of them you need to, exaggerate on, keep in there, and ones that you can just, you know, keep out of it. Just,
yeah,
and it just gets faster and faster, and you get your style down. And I've done a few books before, like, well, I've started books for people, a lot of like some indie books, and then money runs out, and then
hmm
it's a pain, like, getting a creative team together. And that's why when I started this book, I was like, I'm just going to start doing it. Like, I'm just going to start drawing and coloring it. And I had a rough idea of the story in my head, but then I just kept building on it. And then I found Indie Dave, and you know, I was like, let's see what you could do, man. And he threw together just a little outline of where he thought we could take it, and everything was awesome. It just gelled so well. I was
Yeah.
like,
Isn't that fun?
yeah, it's
When that
great.
happens? Yeah.
It's great when you meet another creator that, you know, you like. I'll take criticism from him, and then he'll take it from me, and it's not like, you know, it's
We
never
mostly agree on
harsh.
stuff, though. So.
Yeah, I know. That's the truth. Like we'll sit there and come up with a bizarre idea, and then we're both like, that's what we're doing. Like
I've been real lucky. Sweens is the second artist I've met that we've just really gelled on, and really like agreed on different stuff, like back and forth. It's like, get out of my head,
Yeah. It's funny. The Flying Fortress story. There were several Google Hangout nights where Andy Moore and I were like, we'd started out and be like, okay, well, I was thinking we could take the story, this, and this way. And they'd be like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's fun. And he and I were lifelong friends. And, we were friends for probably 20 years before the book even started. So there was already that sort of, he's basically my brother. So there's already that sort of ability to throw ideas and already be on the same wavelength. So to be able to find that in somebody that you don't know, that's rare, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It just makes the whole creative process fun and enjoyable, because that's not always the case. Especially if you got someone with a big ego and they want everything their way, or it's the highway. That gets toxic quickly. And I've dealt with a few art directors like that, and it just kills morale, and not very fun. But
just find the people that you work well with and hold on to them. I've done that with Zeb, with the next book that's coming out, Operation Zephyr. And there are other things in the wings that I'm not going to announce yet, but I found some others, people that just built relationships with, and as we talk, it's like, this is going to work. So
I mean, that's how Dave and I did it. We just got along, and then I just threw the question out to him one night, and I got down on one knee, and I popped the question. And, and he said yes.
That's beautiful.
It really was.
I clutched my heart, and my hearts came out. It was like a cartoon.
It's so heartwarming.
He told his wife and kids goodbye.
He was already packing his bags.
I just needed the excuse.
Yeah. I get it.
It's so funny though. Yeah. So I don't know, Dave. What's going on with you? How's writing going right now for you?
Well, we got once I get the finished pages that we went over earlier, then I can script that. The next scene I want to script out. We'll probably add a page or two to that, and then after that, that's the point where I'm just coming on. So then I actually have to. I guess we'll sit down. We'll discuss each scene, and then I'll script out the scenes specifically. So we'll figure out, because we have to figure out what each scene what needs to happen to get to the end of the story, and then once we've agreed on what's going to happen in each scene, then I can script them all out. But I want to script out to the point where we're at right now. So I want to make sure all that's done first, and then bam, work on the stuff that I come up with.
Yeah, I gave Dave like 17 pages, and he was like, you want to give me a summary of this stuff? And I was like, no. I was like, I want you to create a story from the visuals you see. And
nice.
I trusted him enough to do that, and that's when he came back with the outline.
So you already had the pages done.
Oh yeah.
And then Dave, you had to write around it.
Yeah, I basically wrote back around it, and I made some suggestions. I'm like, okay, maybe in this panel it should look like this. And I said, you know what, and he's working on it right now. I don't know if you've seen it. He posted on Twitter a couple times the big swamp shot. I said, because where he started was kind of in the middle of something, and I was like, oh, you know what we need? We need one big establishing shot for the swamp where everything's taking place. So, and he knocked that out, and oh my god, it looks amazing. It looks awesome.
Awesome.
I'm still working on it. There's still plenty of highlights, rim lighting that has to be put in. I added so much. I'll post the progress up later tonight. But yeah, I post everything, mistakes, everything. I just put it out there for people to see and to also judge on the feedback. And and if someone suggests something to me, like in the comments, and it makes sense, and I'm gonna throw it in there. Like, I want this book to be for fans, and if they give me a good idea that they think's gonna work, like I'm gonna put it in there. Like, why not? I want this book to be ridiculous, like in a good way.
Yeah.
I want the whole I want the whole campaign to be interactive. I want everybody not to see every page, maybe, but to really be involved and see what's going on and feel like they're involved in making the comic within reason.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's really good to, you want to take the feedback, but don't what am I trying to say? Don't take everything. It's not always good feedback for sure.
Exactly.
But being open to the community and potential readers and fans is always helpful, because they're going to, they might look at it and think, hey, this one thing would be really cool if you did X, Y, Z, or did you notice on panel 6 that hair color is wrong, and you may not even have noticed it.
Yeah.
So.
No, one guy posted it up. He's like, dude, you should really put an eyebrow ring on him. And I was like, haha, that's hilarious. I'll think about it. Like, no, we're not. I'm not putting eyebrow rings on any of these characters. Or anything like that. It was just kind of funny, whatever. But no, I mean, Dave and I did a live stream last week, and we were talking about this their crappy TV reception, and some guy in the chat was throwing out ideas, and I was like, that makes sense. Like, I'm gonna throw it in there, and
I've seen those pages. I like that.
Yeah, it just gives it a little something extra, a little more character. You know, puts you more into the story, I guess. But yeah, no, not everything. I can't sit there and take all the suggestions that people give, but
at some point we have to actually be involved in making the book.
Yeah, it is your story after all.
Exactly. No, people won't change the basic idea of the story or anything, but like a lot of the people that have like been really supportive and stuff like that, like I give back to them, and I sneak people's Twitter handles in on things, and just stuff like that, and then you post it up and people freak out about it because they're like, oh my god, my name's going to be in this book, and I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I do that? It actually adds some character here and there, and they're fun little Easter eggs that other people in this community will see and get a kick out of. It's just fun little stuff to throw in there, and it takes next to zero effort to do some of that stuff, but it's just fun little things to throw around there and stuff. So yeah.
Right. Since we're talking comics, why don't we find out about Flying Fortress? Since we got you on.
Yeah.
Let me screen share the campaign real quick.
Sure. That'd be great.
All righty. There we go. All right. So tell us about what Flying Fortress is. Yeah.
So the short pitch is a top-tier B-17 crew on their final mission are tasked to go as a part of a group to go bomb Hitler in his eagle's nest in the Black Forest of Germany. They successfully drop their bombs and send Hitler's mustache into the air, and they stir up the hornet's nest of 88 fire and fighters coming up after them to take them down. And one of those fighters is a Horton 229, and it shoots them down, and they crash land in a medieval world, although they don't realize it at the time. They've sort of a fish out of water, so to speak. And they sort of once they arrive, they think they're in 1943 Germany. Technically speaking, they still are, because it's an alternate dimension. It's not a time jump. That the dimension is stuck in the Middle Ages. They find a helpful hand. They discover this group of people known as the Infinite Reich, which was sort of working on this alien technology that crashed in the Black Forest in Germany in 1933 in regular Earth Prime time zone or time frame dimension. See, I even get it wrong. But yeah, so they crash land there and find these knights and Nazis and monsters, and they got to do what they can to figure out how they got there and how to get back home.
No, it sounds super awesome. I've always liked the idea with Nazis and UFO technology. And,
yeah, that was a big influence on the story.
Yeah, all that stuff's really cool. Does it delve into them going to Antarctica or anything like that? Where they supposedly
there were parts of the story where we were like, how do we want to explain this? Because there's like the Thule Society within the Nazis. They were like the conspirators. They were into the occult and all of this stuff. We didn't go into that, so we took this event. It's basically Germany's Roswell. And the theory is that this UFO crash is how the Germans created jet engine technology, because they were doing things way before anybody else was. So like, people think, well, how'd they do it? It must have been aliens. So we took that crash and sort of made that sort of the epicenter of this technology that they essentially utilize to hop dimensions. So the Nazis in this case are using alien technology and controlling it in order to build a larger foothold in controlling everything, as the Nazis wanted to take over the world. Well, the Infinite Reich wants to take over every dimension.
Yeah. It's such a cool story, though. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm pumped for it. And oh, geez, you're closing in on 20,000 now, man.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
awesome.
Ethan had me on earlier this evening, so I jumped up like, I don't know, like $1,000 today. So
yeah. So if you jump up another 1,000 tonight or so, you can thank Indie Dave.
That's right. It'll all be you guys.
I will definitely take all the credit.
I'll give it. Yeah. No, I mean, at 20,000, we unlock the CG, basically the CG postcard pinup girl tier.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I've got the ear of a few artists and the pencils of a few artists to do some artwork for me. Originally, when the campaign launched, I had this like the $50 tier is the featured tier, and I had it. It's set as you get the book, you get a print of the cover, and at the time it was called a top secret cover or top secret print. Excuse me. And I had somebody lined up, but it fell through. So I needed a backup, and I needed a heavy hitter, and I just happened to be on Billy Tucci's show the same day that the other guy wasn't. He's just too busy, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So after the show, I had a great show. Billy and I really, we had a good time. Him and the guy's got a name and I can't think of it. His co-host.
Oh, I can't think of what his name is.
Yeah. Either way. Afterwards I was like, hey, I'm wondering, because we're both veterans, we're both Army guys, and I was like, hey, you want to do this for me? I feel like his art is like perfect for the time period.
Yeah.
And we talked back and forth, and he's like, I'd love to do it for you. And we talked that day, and then that night he was like, you know what? I have this pinup that he did it as a commission for a friend, and so we took that. He only had the pencils, and it was only a scan, but we took that, and he had his colorist color it up for us. And I saw it, and I was like, even before it was colored, I was like, we got to come up with a name for this, because all the nose arts, all the bombers would have these names. Usually they were an alliteration. So I saw it, and I was like, maybe Whippin' Windy or something like that. And then I was looking up. I had to go to Thesaurus to come up with other names for a whip, because I was like, I don't really like whipping because it sounds like she's being whipped. So rawhide is a term for a whip. I was like, rawhide Rosie. That's perfect. So that became that print. And then, so that's at the $50 tier. Well, I was like, well, I want to have everybody be able to get at least a piece of it. So as a stretch goal for 20K, there's that print. Then there's a print by Kyung Lee, which you see there. There's a print by Matt Well, and that's the pencil sketch. It still isn't done yet. And I've also got John Malin, Elliot Fernandez, Kelsey Shannon. They're all going to do their own versions of Pinup Girls. Yeah. And they're going to be part of the $20,000 stretch goal. They'll be postcard size. So, maybe like mailer, like 5x8. Not super small, but not like a full-size print.
It's a very clever idea, and also like that lineup of artists you have for that is absolutely insane. Like, it's
that's why you have to put it as a stretch goal, because some of them, some of them are willing to cut you a deal, and some of them want their page rate, and that's fine. I'm willing to pay for it for sure.
Now, did you say? I thought I heard you say all these guys were actually going to be on planes in the book too.
Yeah. So since I'm remastering the book, I'm going through and making. I'm not doing an RT Bear. I'm not redrawing the thing. This is very much a time, what do you call it? A time portal. That's not the right word. What's the thing you put under time capsule? There you go.
Time capsule. Yeah.
But there are some things that I need to change, minor things really, and some stuff that sort of bothered me that made it into the book, originally. And I thought, you know what, I'd like to be able to just fix that small thing. But one of those, since I'm doing that, one of the ideas was, why don't I put more nose art on the other planes in the background? And there's not a lot of shots of them, but there's enough where I'm like, yeah, I can do that. We can put some pretty ladies on these B-17s, and it's going to work out great. And we got some great art from some great artists. Yeah. And so they'll be in the book and in your, hanging on your wall or on your desk as a postcard, or you can mail it to your grandma, whatever. So.
In the chat, let's see. We've got Zaid Comics. We got Ted Lehman. Hey everybody.
Hey.
Acevedo.
What's up, Ted?
And the medal's here. Do you know about the medal?
I don't know about the medal, but I will say real quick, Ted Lehman.
The medal always likes and subscribes.
All right. Well, definitely the medal like and subscribe to Eric Weathers on YouTube.
All right.
But Ted Lehman in the chat, he did a print for the campaign.
Oh, sweet.
Really?
Yeah. So if you zoom out, go back to the regular page and scroll down past the pages of my artwork until you see a beautiful piece of artwork.
I do. Yes.
Of a 50 cal gunner.
Yeah.
That's my man, Ted Lehman down there.
Ted, that's an absolute.
I've done messed up your stream. Look at this.
Where was he at?
Time warp. Yeah. So scroll down past the cover, past my interior pages, and you're going to see something say stretch goals, and then you're going to see a gorgeous B-17 gunner waist gun. You'll see it. When you see it, it'll blow your mind.
It's so awesome. It's such a great piece. Everything about it is just awesome.
Oh, right here. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was our $12,000 stretch goal. That was to unlock that. So all physical backers will be getting that print. $35 or more. Actually, even the $25, because I have like a print grab bag, which is, I have a bunch of prints from the cons over the years. This is going to be a part of that as well. So a lot of this print going out into the world.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That is, yeah.
And real quick, Dark Admiral March here. Niles Scalia is Billy Tucci's host. Thank you, Dark Admiral.
Yeah, this piece.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so
Oh my God,
he
yeah.
messaged me. We had this sort of ramp up to the campaign, which I highly recommend everybody do. Tell everybody it's going to happen like a month before it happens. Get a mailing list.
Mhm.
Like, get that stuff going. You don't know how well your campaign could do unless you are really pre-planning these things. I don't have that big of a YouTube presence. I have 350 subscribers. I only have maybe 1,000, maybe 1,300 Twitter followers. But I had this mailing list, and I was putting the word out there for even more than a month. It might have been 5 or 6 weeks. Like, Flying Fortress is coming. I picked June 6th because it's a good World War II date.
It's perfect.
And you're able to, I did it through Indiegogo. They have like a pre-launch page, which is discoverable through Indiegogo as well. So like you can you can go to like pre-launch campaigns and see what's coming.
Yeah.
But you're able to gauge the interest of the product before it launches, and it was very, very useful. And then
Mhm.
you link that, because you can download that list of recipients and upload it to like a MailChimp or some other mailing program, whatever, and just send it a blast email. It says, hey, by the way, thanks for backing. Here's a secret perk. And you give people a discount or give them a bonus or whatever. And it helps that day one. It helps the day one backing. So helps you get on that algorithm. I was able to get funded thankfully, in like an hour and 15 minutes. And then that puts it in the Indiegogo algorithm that says trending. And it stays there for however long until somebody, knocks you off your throne. But it's all a part of the game. There's a game you got to play, a meta game you got to play when you're doing this stuff.
Yeah, we definitely have to get a mailing list together, and like we just got put up on IndieCron, like
there you go.
within the last week, and we're trying to build a more solid or a larger following, and as soon as like we've got a lot more art finished in some of these campaigns that already launched and fulfilled, like, and we're doing a 44-page book.
Okay.
We're at about 20 pages right now.
So you're good. You're over halfway. You're almost halfway done.
Yeah, and so we've talked to other people about launching, and it seems like winter months are a little difficult with Comicsgate, but like I don't know if that's just because it's around Christmas or if it was because the lack of quality books that were being put out at that time. But
there are a lot of factors. Like if you were to launch today, you're going up against a lot of competition.
Exactly.
Honestly, do the research that you can. I'm trying to get Flying Fortress done and shipped as soon as possible so I can roll into the next campaign, because I'm really excited about the next campaign. It is not Flying Fortress. It is my Oz book. And I've been telling people 2019 summer. So I'm trying to get like Flying Fortress fulfilled so that I can launch Operation Zephyr on September 23rd is the last day of summer. So at least if I launch by then, I'm a man of my word. So,
yeah.
But you never know how things go. If my printer could mess up or shipment gets lost or whatever. So, but that's the tentative plan, is to have Flying Fortress done and out the door, hopefully through the month of August. But we'll see.
Yeah.
And the benefit is you're pretty much done, right? I mean, I know you said you're doing some like updates and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to re-letter the book. I've already started that process. I've also got an editor looking at things, pointing out, like I talked to him earlier today, and he was like, on this panel, it's not really clear what's happening. And I'm like, you know what? That's a really good point. And that was issue 2. And like, that's been since 2012.
Mhm.
So there are going to be a few of those things. And he's, making sure that my um, grammar and spelling is spot on. He said he found a few things, which is always not good to hear when the book's been out that long. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it's like, well, I know I've looked over it a lot, so he must know
Yeah.
extra English speaking skills that I don't have. He knows all the rules. So
Yeah, and then there's, in comics they have their, their own thing
yeah,
about,
there's a certain language to comics
yeah,
for sure.
uh-huh, laying out when to capitalize eyes, like
Hmm.
all that. There's, yeah, I was reading over that stuff because originally I was going to letter it, like, you know, I was like, oh, I can do this, and then, the more and more work I'm putting into the art and stuff, it's like when I'm finished with the art, like I want my part of this book to be over with.
Yeah, I
Like,
tell you what, man, when you're doing a book and you're doing everything art wise, it wears you out. It does. I got burnt
oh,
out on Oz. I mean, it was sorry, Flying Fortress. It was a long journey.
oh yeah,
The lettering became a haven, honestly, because I don't like coloring,
yeah,
or at least I didn't at the time. I enjoy it more now
hmm
because after Flying Fortress, I switched over. I was like, I'm going to learn how to paint. So I did a lot of digital painting, and that sort of changed my view of how coloring works.
yeah,
But at the time when I was doing it, was like because I was flatting it myself. Everything was done because we didn't have the money to, or just didn't want to pay anybody else to do it. So
hmm
yeah, the coloring was like hitting the brakes and
yeah.
or careening off the bridge. But lettering was just a smooth cruise. I was like, this is
hmm
good. So
See, I could see myself rushing through the lettering and just
yeah,
and
don't do that. You make mistakes.
yeah, yeah.
Even I make mistakes if I'm rushing too much and I go back. I'm like, oh man, I completely missed
hmm
that I there in that word that's the wrong that has crossbars and shouldn't and things like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, don't rush. Try not to rush anything if you can help it.
I just I don't like it with this book. This is like a real passion of mine. So I'm not rushing through anything, but I still have to get it finished one day.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah, get it out, get it to the people and get on to the next book. That's what I say.
uh-huh, yep, and just keep keep the train rolling. Like I've hit a few snags here and there with like family issues and stuff
Hmm.
where it was like, I had no motivation. And then, for a week or two, I didn't touch the book. And then it just starts eating at me. I'm like,
Hmm.
I need to get this. And then as soon as I get back on and get the momentum going and stuff and, get used to staying up to 3 a.m. working on it every night and then waking up for work next morning. And once you build that routine, then, it's second nature. You don't even think
Yep.
about it. And that's
Sounds very familiar.
yeah, that's that's where I'm at right now. And to my wife gets a little upset sometimes because I'm working all day and then I come home from work and then I hang out with the family and do dinner and put the kids to bed and then she's like, "Let's hang out," and I'm like, I gotta go do some work. Like
Yeah.
I gotta get to it. And um, at first it really got to her, but now she's seeing some things are picking up, and so she's all about it now. But yeah, for a while there, I was getting evil eyes and a lot of questionable looks, but that's cool.
Yeah, you want to keep the wife happy for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but like what happened tonight on Ethan's stream, that was pretty awesome
I don't
to
know if
hear that.
everybody heard what happened on Ethan's stream.
Yeah, so you might want to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ed,
he's
do you want to go ahead and
he
announce the swings?
yeah, he saw one of my live or one of my super chats, and he was like, this guy's making a frog book. He's like, I don't want anyone else pissing in my pond. No, he actually DM'd me a few weeks ago, and people were tagging him in to see if he would do, or if I could use Cyberfrog for a variant cover for the book. And he sent me a DM saying like, how about we do it as a jam piece? I'll draw Cyberfrog and you draw Oddity. And I lost it. I was like, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of like going to a concert and you know you're seeing Clapton perform on stage, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come up here and we'll play together or something?"
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty insane. So yeah, he's going to do a variant.
That's amazing. I've
Work
been
on
trying
it.
to I've been trying to get him to do a pinup, and I can't get him to. He's so. I mean, you lucked out
Yeah.
there. So he's
I
a busy guy.
I don't know how like I don't know how it all worked out, but yeah. And then he wants me to come on and promote sometime, and you know when I do that, I'm definitely going to have Dave come on with me.
Hmm.
You know, and you know, and we'll slang some comics with him. See what
Excellent.
happens.
I know how
Yeah.
it happened. You stepped in something golden.
I did. I stepped into that golden pile of shit. Which is going to be our top tier. Well,
Well, of course.
it's actually it'll probably be our second top tier. Our top tier will have to be the ace tier because one of the guys out in Comicsgate who from the very beginning he supported me and you know gave me a lot of confidence to go through with the book, and I was always like, you know what, I will do an ace tier, like why not? So it doesn't have to make sense to anyone but us, so whatever. It's just a tier, but the golden shit tier will be a special tier as well.
Good. Yeah, keep your tiers short if you can. I was trying to give people different options for original art because I have a bunch of it, and I think
Yeah.
the water's maybe a little muddy. But the fewer the tiers, I say, the fewer the better, because you can go kind of crazy with it and can confuse the potential backer. So I know future campaigns are definitely going to be more streamlined from my end.
Yeah, I don't imagine going too crazy with the tiers. I mean, of course, I do the digital release. I do the the 2 books because that makes sense for a lot of people because you get the 2 books, you have one for yourself, and then you can put it up on eBay or do with whatever you want with the second one. And with the T-shirt stuff, I heard a lot of people add in T-shirts.
Don't do that.
On their tiers, and I was wondering about that.
I've heard that for several years. Because we did a Kickstarter way back in 2012 for the first Flying Fortress Volume 1, which collected the first 4 issues, and we had a T-shirt tier. We were lucky enough to have an actual screen printing machine with Andy had one at the time. But you don't expect to get the variety of sizes that you want, and then you have to pay, and a lot of times you have to buy them in bulk, and then it just adds on to shipping. So for real, set up a Crypto Fashion or a Teespring. I did that. I set up a Crypto Fashion. I got my first paycheck today. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's not tied to the campaign, although they will fulfill if you had a T-shirt only tier. Then Crypto could help you fulfill that, but you'd have to work out with them like how to charge.
I already contacted them, and I'm just going to go to their website, and if people want to get the shirt, then they get the shirt. It's one less thing I have to worry about.
Yep.
So they can take care of everything, and they give you a portion of it, and that's fine. And
then sometime at a convention, you're going to see your shirt walking down the aisle, and you're like, wait a second, that's me. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's what happens. But no, yeah, it's just the easier it is on me with the tiers and stuff, then that's what the way I'm going. Like the the book will speak for itself. Hopefully, people dig it and they buy it. But I'm not going to sit there and throw in all these crazy tiers and
Yeah.
try to entice people. I'll give them the full package tier and then a few other options. I
Keep
don't
it
plan
simple.
on
Yeah, I'm
doing
not really
anything.
into all the tchotchke kind of stuff that some people throw in, but
Yeah.
That's why I say keep that stuff as a stretch goal, and then
Hmm.
it's sort of a nice add-on. I'm sure there are people that have backed Flying Fortress and haven't looked at it since, and are going to be pleasantly surprised when they open up their shipment and be like, "Wow, there's a
Hmm.
patch and a bookmark, and look at this print." You
Uh-huh.
know?
No, it's cool stuff. I mean, and yours, like, it all ties in so well. Like having the patch and the postcards and all that. Like, it is like a time capsule.
Yeah, there was an intentionality
Hmm.
to my decisions in what I had as stretch goals. You got to have a bomber patch for a bomber crew, and pinup girls, postcards. That's of the period.
Hmm.
So
No, it's really awesome. It's just a well thought out, you know, plan of attack there to get people's money. It was
yeah,
very clever.
yeah,
That's really awesome. Some of the other like the campaigns now, you're really seeing people tighten up their promotion and their overall work. At first, there was a few books in Comicsgate where I was like, oh, like if I see something as an artist and I'm not like blown away by it, it's hard for me to get sold on a book. Like
hmm
I'm I'm very visual, of course, and the story can be amazing, but if the art isn't going to grab me, then you know that's an issue for me. Other people can get past that stuff, but nah, it has to be visually appealing for
yeah.
me.
You gotta make it easy on the eyes for
Oh,
sure.
definitely. And like your book looks amazing, and the fact that it's
Well, thank you.
200 pages is absolutely insane.
It's
Like
over
that is
200. 200 is just the
it's
story.
yeah, that's like insane in a good way. Like it's very
Yeah.
impressive that you're able to take on such a daunting task like that. Like so you said you started it in 2012? Is that correct?
2011. Yeah.
11.
So yeah, the
Yeah.
first sort of pencil to paper was 2011.
Mhm.
And we did a Kickstarter in 2012 because it was like, hey, we need a good motivator to continue the book. And the Kickstarter was for volume 1, which was the first 4 chapters. And I
Mhm.
believe at the time that we did that, only the first 2 or maybe even just 1.5 books were done. So it was
Yeah.
very much like, help us get this done. We only made like $1,000. It was nothing. But
But it was
it
a
was
stepping
always
stone.
self-funded, mostly Andy, and he did fantastic. He was like, "Oh, he's like, dude, you're doing all this drawing and all of this stuff." He's like, "Let me order the books." And then,
Mhm.
and that would be, I paid with the art and he paid with the books. And then we'd go to cons and you know, beg people to buy the book. Luckily they
Uh-huh.
liked it. So you'd go back the next year and somebody, they'd come to your table first thing, ready for the next issue.
Mhm.
It's a great feeling knowing
Yeah.
that you made something and people are not only excited about it but are wanting more and more of it.
Mhm.
Um, I'm eager to see the reception of this book.
Mhm.
If it, depending on how well the campaign does and if the book does well, in terms of like reviews or feedback,
Mhm.
there have always been plans for a sequel. I'm not,
Mhm.
I don't want to say that this ends on a cliffhanger. There's definitely an ending, but
Mhm.
there's always, you can always come back. And
Yeah.
if we came back to Flying Fortress, it would be fun. At the same time, it's like, okay, well, if I did a book 2, book one was 200 pages. I'm going to have my work cut out for me. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to just sort of be able to meet fans and make fans and make new readers, and hopefully they stay with you. I mean, there's a guy on Twitter, Kirk something or other. He has a book I did for like free comic book or 24-hour comic book day in like 2013 that I did a Kickstarter for and raised like $300. Like some people will just stick with you. So
yeah, no, definitely.
I'm grateful for every one of them.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just now building an audience on Twitter, and I'm thankful for each and every one of them that, retweets my stuff and likes it and says something, leaves a comment, whatever. Like, I'm thankful for all those people.
Speaking of building an audience, if you haven't liked and subscribed to this channel, now's a good time.
There you go. Now, here's the deal. Here's the word of advice. Try to reach outside of comics as much as you can, because it's only as big as it is. So like Ethan with his Star Wars stuff. So if you have a YouTube channel or whatever, find that topic that you're passionate about that isn't comics and try and reach out to those people. If you have time, if you're lettering everybody's book on Earth, you don't have time to do that as much as you'd like. But if you have the time, make your game channel, make your tabletop painting miniatures channel, your whatever. So reach outside of comics to bring those people in, because you might create a new reader, and that person may be backing everybody's book, and that's good for everybody.
Yeah, that's solid advice right there. And if I wasn't drawing every single night or coloring, or I would try to build up my YouTube audience a bit, but I post some time lapse videos, and that's pretty much as far as I go with.
Yeah. No, it's still good. I mean, you're going to get eyeballs on it. You do that on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. Yeah. It's good. It's good to get yourself out there, and it'll build upon itself eventually. You start getting a big enough following, and then people sort of just find you because you're big enough, and then it continues to grow.
I'm definitely starting to see a lot more familiar faces over on Instagram, which is a good thing, because that is the best for, visuals. Like Twitter's good to a degree, but Instagram, I think the algorithm's more in your favor to get more eyes on your work, and it's just you have to post all the time. I mean, like several times a day, and then you'll start picking up followers and stuff like that. But
it's weird because like we're going on vacation here, and I want to do a charter fishing trip. And so I was looking, I went to some YouTube pages that does charter fishing, and I was like, oh, this guy's got an Instagram page and posts pictures of fish or whatever. So I go to his Instagram page, and I was like, oh, and I liked a couple of his pictures, the catches. And all of a sudden, I started getting followers who were charter fishing. I mean, it's like it was like that. Wow, the algorithm's weird.
Well, I got to get going. I've got another stream, the Sweetcast stream with Clint and I.
Hey, thanks for your time. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for stopping in and talking about your book and a little bit of your process and stuff. It's awesome stuff to hear, man.
Well, thanks. I had a really good time with you guys, and let's make a great book with Oddity. Congrats on the Ethan cover. That's fantastic. And awesome stuff. Guys, subscribe and like and follow these guys. They're making a great book.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate you stopping in.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Good night.
Night.
All right. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So to update everybody, we've got Eric Weathers lettering.
Hard.
Yeah. To update everybody, we got Eric Weathers lettering, and we're going to have a collaborative cover with Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah, that's how it's going. I have no idea how that worked out, but so I'm still kind of shocked by all that, but now I have to create something that doesn't look like a turd next to Ethan's work. No, it'll be fun. But
Oh, it should be awesome.
very exciting
It's
stuff.
gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how all that's gonna work. And now, all right, well, why don't we talk? How would that happen? Since he lives in Jersey and you live in Ohio or wherever you are.
Well, I imagine he does everything traditionally, so he'll probably draw. We'll probably send some ideas, sketches back and forth, more than likely, just to get a solid concept down, and then he will more than likely draw his character traditionally first, and then send it over to me, like scan it, send it to me, and then I'll draw my character digitally, you know, on that scan, and maybe we'll see if Kyle wants to color it, or maybe I'll color it. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. And
If we get Kyle on there, oh my god!
I mean, he colors
Everybody.
Cyberpunk for professionally, so
Yeah.
why not let him do it, or
Oh,
see if he's up for doing something like that. So it could turn out to be, well, I think it will turn out to be a really cool variant cover, and I'm just over the moon.
he's like the Eric Weathers of colorists.
Exactly, right? Yes, he is. And he moonlights as Rainbow Brute, so I've heard.
All right, we got Edwin. Edwin the Eighth Acevedo. Congrats, Sweens. This happens because you've had a great looking project. You treat customers with respect, and all Comicsgate pros should do. Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that, Ace. That's you're always there from the very beginning. He even commissioned me to do a piece one time. His character, um, that you see in all of his avatars and stuff, I did the original, and then he pays all these. He pays all these other artists within Comicsgate to do renditions of that character, and just there's some really awesome renditions that people have put out there for him, and it's super cool to see people draw a character that him and I created. Because like I did the drawing and stuff like that, but he gave me uh, a lot of ideas of where to take it, and what he liked, what characters he likes, and all that, and it just kind of meshed it all together and created the ace for him. And it's really cool to see other artists do their renditions on it. And yeah, it's just
Now we got a guy in the chat who says no, it was because you were on Drawing Aces first. Now, did that guy in the chat contact you today earlier?
Yes, he did.
Because he contacted me, and I had to refer him to you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know if that's something he wants announced. So
Yeah. I don't know if he wants to announce it. He can let us know in the chat, and then I'll announce it, or we'll hold it a secret. But yeah, actually, the very first stream I did was.
all right, he says not yet, so we'll keep it on the hush hush. But
It's on the
it sounds really cool. He actually contacted me by accident. It sounds like something that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. It's really cool stuff. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled, people. Fun stuff ahead. But
follow Passion for Drawing on Twitter.
yeah,
These are
and his YouTube channel, drawing aces. Him and Edwin the Ace. They Thursday nights they do a Comicsgate show, and I was on there once or twice. I can't remember, once or twice. And no, they're great guys. I always enjoy talking to them, and
And did Passion release his coloring book, or is he's just shipping that? I think I saw that he got some in. He was just going to be shipping those.
Yeah, I got in the mail recently. It was my wife always collects all the mail, and I found it just earlier. What was it? No, late last week. I found this this giant package, and it was an original from Passion himself, and it was a super awesome drawing dragons and stuff. You know, his forte, and it was real cool. It was a cool original that I got. So
He
very
said,
cool, Passion, and thank you for that. But yeah, my wife collected the mail and just throws it in a pile, and then we were going through some of it, and then I saw it at the bottom. I was like, oh, something for me that's not a bill or something like. Yeah, and it was a original piece of art, which is a very awesome to get.
yeah, and I'm very monitoring, especially since I started back in books. I'm like almost always like waiting at the mailbox for something to come in. I never know what's going to come
He
in.
tackles me to get to the mailbox first.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. Like it's such a fun community and getting all this awesome stuff from people and just seeing people succeed and creating awesome content and projects. You know, very exciting stuff. And you know, I just hope we live up to it and deliver an awesome book for everyone.
Yeah, I'm going to be working my butt off to make sure that the story's good, and I already know the art's going to be good. So,
Yeah,
what I'm really excited about is writing the first script pages that you're going to draw. From what I can, that's what I'm super excited about. I can't even wait.
Oh
to
yeah,
those are going to turn out.
no, it'll be fun stuff. It will definitely be fun stuff. I can't wait for it. Right now, I've been going back and doing edits, and now I'm drawing in. I just started the panel with him slinging his tongue to get his Chinese food, quote unquote Chinese food, and yeah, and I just about had that opening scene finished up. Just have a few little things to tweak on it, but yeah, it's moving along. Like it's happening.
When you draw that scene of him opening the box, the Chinese food box, you need to reference the movie that you need to like go to and find the scene of that movie that we're talking about that it refers to, and just pull right from that scene.
Oh, for sure.
For reference.
We're going to have to throw up a poster behind him that that alludes to it a little more.
Oh yeah.
Over the head. I'm sure I can figure something to sneak in there, but yeah. Well, I'm going to have to get rolling though. It was an awesome stream, but I got kids to take care of right now.
Yeah, me too.
I've been streaming and bothering Ethan all day.
That is awesome. All right, guy. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm even like 10 times more excited today than I was yesterday, and I was super excited today. So.
This is great stuff, man. It's really exciting.
All right. Hey, thanks for everybody in the chat. Again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell, and we'll keep. Let's see. I think I'm having. My schedule messed up, so I wasn't sure who I was going to have on tomorrow, and I have like 2 other people that are like, "Oh, I'll take the spot."
I saw them.
So yeah, tomorrow I'll announce we might have 2 people on tomorrow to and talk about their projects, and then I won't be doing anything again until Friday, unless we get the big invitation, and then I might have to call in sick from work. I'm gonna know that one, ahead of time. If I'm at work, you're gonna have to carry it by yourself.
I'm not scared. I'll get blackout drunk and all the cards will fall in place, right? when I single-handedly demonetize you.
All right, you have a good night. Everybody in the chat.
All right, you too.
Going up, and y'all have a good night.
All right, thanks for stopping in, guys. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.